The 2024 Boxing Day Sports Track meeting at the Forest Street track in Paarl was a significant day in the life of one of South Africa's premier cyclists. The day marked the retirement from competitive racing of Nolan Hoffman. The Hoff, as he's universally known, racked up well over 50 race wins on the road and track in a career that started 18 years ago.
I grew up in Franschhoek. As you can see, started my track cycling career here on Forest Street track stadium. Started at under 16 category, grew up on the track, then made a switch over to the road when I was under 23. But in essence, I think this is, this place is where my cycling and my competitive cycling really started. So lots of fond memories here and had some good results on this track.
Hoffman followed in the pedal strokes of a man who guided him and many others into the sport at the track.
Okay, my name is Ulrich Coulson. I was a track cyclist basically all my life, but did a bit of road cycling as well. I'm based in Paarl, started here as a 10-year-old racing bicycles, first at Del Yusufa track and then later on the Forest Street track doing national championships, Paarl Boxing Day obviously, and so on. And now I am coaching and managing the DSV Shift Academy in Paarl. I stopped cycling at the age of 45. Racing my last championships in Durban, I think it was, and then moved over to coaching as well as commissarying. So cycling has been a part of my life since I was a 10-year-old, and I'm still here, and I don't think I'll ever leave cycling.
As featured on Toyota Cadence earlier this year, the Boxing Day sports meeting at Forest Street is without doubt one of the highlights of the year for track cyclists. It's the oldest of its kind in the world, and as Ulrich explains, it's made up of many different events.
On the day, there's different races for different age categories, from a 800 meter up to elimination and a points race. But the highlight, of course, for everybody is a 25-mile event, covering the track 87 3/4 times. Average speed will most probably this year be around 50 km an hour, depending on the wind. It'll be, according to the weather report, it's going to be hot, 38 degrees. On the track, that would mean around 42, 43 degrees for the riders. No water can be taken, no ice, nothing to cool you down during the race. So it'll be about maximum 55, 57 minutes of hard suffering for everybody.
Nolan Hoffman's career took him to all corners of the globe as he raced UCI Track World Cups and road events and World Championships. But it's to the Forest Street track that he turns when looking back.
Really cool story for me. I think here, like I said, this is where it started for me. The competitive bug hit me when I watched my first Boxing Day sports here. There was super crowds, like full to capacity. The racing was so fast. A lot of the road pros came to come race the 25 miles, so it was like a really high contested race. I mean, the Minard Trophy was up for grabs, and that, I think, in my opinion, is one of the most prestigious trophies out there to win. For me, once I saw Garth Thomas won that trophy and lifted it for the first time, I told myself that is a race that I want to win, and after that, went through the under 16 and junior ranks, under 23 ranks to sort of really come back to this race and try and win it. And I was lucky in my first years on under 23, I managed to clinch the cup from Garth, and ever since I've lifted that trophy, for me, yeah, it was one of the most insane feelings ever. It's the best feeling that a track cyclist can experience, lifting that cup in front of 5,000 strong crowd, and yeah, all local people, your fans, your family that come spectate. Really incredible feeling, and that was that whole motivation to try and come back each year. You look all of the names on that trophy. It's the absolute legends of the sports that has won this trophy numerous times, and I just got addicted to this event. The people every year coming back year after year, the tradition of watching cycling on Boxing Day, coming to spectate and witness the 25 mile. That for me Yeah, it's incredible, and it was just, I wanted to come back every year.
Which is what Nolan did again in 2024. Although he didn't win it, he was able to enjoy the applause and adoration from his supporters as he rolled around the track one more time. Paarl Boxing Day is a unique South African sporting occasion. The day after Christmas and the height of summer, the stands are packed and the vibe is one of excitement, anticipation and celebration.
If you're a resident of Paarl and you don't know Paarl Boxing Day, you probably moved in here 3 or 4 weeks ago. Because Paarl Boxing Day is an event of track cycling in Paarl, and I think for a lot of riders the highlight of their cycling year if you are specializing in track racing. It's brought champions to the fore, the likes of Garth Thomas, Clint Hendricks, later on Nolan Hoffman, and it also brought a lot of surprises to Paarl Boxing Day. One of the biggest surprises in my time was the win of Leslie Snyders, who never won a race in his life. And then 3 laps from the finish, he had with him in the group Nolan Hoffman, Garth Thomas, and Dean Edwards. Dean at that time was probably the fastest rider. And Leslie broke away. Dean looked at Garth, Garth looked at Nolan, and they told Dean they're not chasing because they've been training together all the time. So Leslie got away and won his only race in his life, which was the Paarl Boxing Day 25-mile event. For me, that was one of the highlights. The other one was obviously my nephew, Garth Thomas, winning, I think, 3 or 4 Boxing Days, and then Nolan Hoffman winning 7 Boxing Days. That was, for me, the highlights of Paarl, of the Paarl era of Boxing Day.
Nolan's name is indeed etched into Paarl Boxing Day folklore due to his phenomenal success at the event. And he chose to bring the curtain down on his career at Forest Street Track last year.
I think as it stands, I've managed to win the 25-mile 7 times, and I think, coming back, there's ambition, but also, you know, the most important thing for me is finishing my racing career here at Paarl Boxing Day. This event means so much for me personally, because this jump shot my career into, like, you know, the stardom to what I achieved on the road, and I'm just super chuffed to come close the chapter in my racing career here at Paarl Boxing Day.
Like Nolan, Elric Coulson has a deep affection for the Paarl Boxing Day event and its traditions.
Paarl Boxing Day has been going for 126 years, and I think it was only cancelled because of the World War, and then later on with the coronavirus episodes, it was stopped. So one of the richest traditions for cycling in the world is the Paarl Boxing Day event, and it's an outing for families. In the past, you would get families sitting on specific spots around the track, and yearly they would sit at that same spot coming out to watch the event. So for the people of Paarl, it was always an outing to come and enjoy a day of cycling. I've come to Boxing Day basically all my life. I've seen the greats win Boxing Day. To mention a few, I saw Chris Willemse get his win after years of trying. I saw the win of Andy Theron, who was also a national champion. Butch Weber winning, and I think it was Alan Dippel winning race, the 25-mile here. So I've seen a good couple of wins at Paarl Boxing Day. I think Butch was second, actually riding with a broken wrist. He did not win, he was second, riding with a broken wrist. And I saw Leon Jonker winning one of his last races when he won Paarl Boxing Day with Stephen Marati from the Free State, finishing in second place. Some brilliant riding at that time in heat of up to 43, 44 degrees, which made it a lot more difficult for everybody.
He's in the finishing straight now. Here comes Swift. Swift into the right. Swift takes the gold medal in the men's scratch race, and the crowd absolutely loved it. Hoffman of the Republic of South Africa nearly took him on the line, but couldn't quite get to Ben Swift.
In 2012, Nolan Hoffman leapt into the international track scene with a career-defining performance at the UCI Track World Championships in Melbourne, where he took silver behind Britain's Ben Swift in the scratch race.
For me personally, that is one of the most surreal achievements that I've ever achieved, you know. Just the fact that it could have almost been a rainbow jersey, how close it was, but then the bittersweet of the silver. But nonetheless, that I think for me was a really big result. But like I say, till this day, it's still so unreal that it's almost like it never happened. But yeah, I think that is really one of my proudest moments as a track cyclist, a local boy coming from the track to get a silver medal on the world stage. You know, it's like I have to remind myself that it's real when I look at the medal and look at the photo, because like I say, it's still till this day, it feels so surreal. But yeah, really one of my proudest moments on a bicycle.
Certainly a proud moment for Nolan Hoffman, and also for Elric Coulson, who played an important part in Nolan's early development as a top-class cyclist.
I met Nolan as a 15-year-old when he came to pop in at the track to watch us train. And then I invited him to come to my house and we had a chat and he started riding. And I've been with him all the time. Since as a 15-year-old when he started riding, I've helped him a lot as in riding as we used to call it, the amateurs. Preparing him for Boxing Day, preparing him for Junior World Championships and so on. He's won 7 PAL Boxing Days and I've been on the inside of the track all the time. And this year I'll be on the inside of the track for the last time when he does his last 25-mile event. And with the expertise that he's got about the event, I'm still hoping he can pull off a win this year, but I know it's going to be very difficult because there's a lot of youngsters and they're coming for him and he knows that. So it'll be a spectacle this year.
Ever the competitor, Nolan went into last year's PAL Boxing Day sports event full of hope and anticipation, dosed with a tinge of emotion as well.
For me, I think I haven't had the ideal preparation going into this year's event, but as an athlete I always try to go into an event with the highest ambition, and numerous times I've really pulled something out of the hat. I'm going into this event with ambition, trying to score another one. But if not, still for me the highlight is to end off my career here and still, you know, on a competitive note, and really I'm throwing my name in the hat and really hoping to give a good final show.
As Nolan has indicated, PAL Boxing Day played a pivotal role in his early development as a competitor. And that blazing hot day after Christmas continues to do just that for the next generation of racers.
The PAL Boxing Day event has been the startup event for a lot of young track riders in the Western Cape. If you look at the results of national championships on elite level, you'll see names like Garth Thomas there, Reino Martin there. You'll see guys like Carl Bontes who's still racing. All of them started their career basically on the PAL Boxing Day as either an under 16 or under 14 rider at that time. So yeah, it's a starting point for a lot of riders, and for this year they've got events for young kids on road bicycles to get them into the sport and to get them into track cycling. Track cycling, for me, I always say it's one of the safest events and one of the safest startup points, because there's no cars, there's no pedestrians running over the track and so on. So it's the best place to start. And the skill you learn on the track is fantastic. If you look at your top track riders, Mark Cavendish came from the track, Mikey Morkov came from the track, and there's some of them that still ride the track. Even as seasoned Pro Tour riders, they're still doing track riding. So in my view, the best place to start. And PAL Boxing Day kick-started a lot of young riders' racing careers. And I'm sure this event is going to go on for the next 100 years, most probably.
The last few years of Nolan's racing career has been spent on the Alawani Capital Partners team. And while he won't be on the bike, he will still be deeply involved with the team.
I've had a incredible journey with Team Aluwani Capital Partners. This team is really backed like strong group of black cyclists, and I'm having the opportunity now to jump into the car and focus on full-time management and coaching of the team. And it's an incredible opportunity for me personally to stay involved with the sport, as my passions will now be shifted to developing the sport and help young aspiring black athletes trying to reach their highest level, you know, and go professional and truly grow the competitive side of cycling in South Africa.